Hi, I'm Sophie. 3 years ago, my life changed forever when a drunk driver plowed into my car on a rainy Tuesday night. The crash left me paralyzed from the waist down. Before that, I was just another marketing exec at my father's company, Miller Tech Solutions. Now, I'm the CEO's poor daughter. At least that's how Victoria refers to me when she thinks I can't hear. Sophie, darling, let me help you with that. Victoria swooped in as I adjusted my blazer this morning, her voice dripping with fake sweetness. As my father's VP of operations, she's perfected the art of looking caring while being anything but. I've got it, thanks. I wheeled myself away from her manicured hands. Of course you do. So independent. She smiled at my father, who barely looked up from his phone. Richard, isn't your daughter just remarkable? My father grunted in agreement, eyes still glued to his screen. That's our relationship in a nutshell. He throws money at my problems from a safe distance, pays for the best medical care, the most advanced wheelchair, even hired a full-time assistant I never asked for. What he doesn't do is actually see me. Don't forget about Rachel's wedding this weekend, I reminded him. Right. He finally looked up. Are you sure you want to go? The venue might be challenging. It's my cousin's wedding, Dad. Of course I'm going. I'm just concerned about my wheels. The venue is accessible, I checked. Victoria chimed in. We're just worried about you being comfortable, sweetheart. What she really meant was she didn't want me there. Since my accident, Victoria has systematically pushed me out of company events. First it was, the venue isn't wheelchair-friendly. Then, the clients might be uncomfortable. Now she doesn't even bother with excuses, just conveniently forgets to include me. Last month's charity gala was the final straw. I showed up anyway, and Victoria spent the entire evening steering potential clients away from me like I was contagious. Sophie, you should rest before the wedding, my father said, already walking toward his office. It's at 2 p.m, Dad. And I'll need Victoria for that merger call. Of course he would. After they left, my physical therapist Nathan arrived. Rough morning. The usual. Victoria being fake, Dad being absent. You still going to your cousin's wedding? Absolutely. I'm not letting Victoria win this one. That's how I found myself pulling up to the country club today, stomach in knots. Through the window, I could see Victoria had already arrived, chatting animatedly with a group that included my cousin Rachel. The bride caught my eye and waved, but Victoria smoothly redirected her attention. As my driver helped with my wheelchair, I took a deep breath. 3 hours of being ignored, pitied, or avoided altogether, but I refused to give Victoria the satisfaction of my absence. Whatever game she was playing, I wasn't about to forfeit. I wheeled myself into the reception hall, immediately spotting Victoria huddled with a group of executives from Dad's company. When she saw me, she whispered something that made them all turn and then quickly disperse in different directions. Need any help with the buffet, Sophie? A server approached with a sympathetic smile. I can manage, thanks. I positioned myself near a table of distant relatives who suddenly became fascinated with their salads. 2 cousins who normally chatted with me pretended not to notice me. The pattern continued as I navigated through the reception conversations, halting when I approached, people suddenly needing refills when I joined their circles. Through it all, Victoria flitted about like a social butterfly, touching arms and whispering. Once I caught her gesturing toward me while saying, So brave of her to come, but don't feel obligated. You look like you could use this. A deep voice broke through my thoughts as a flute of champagne appeared in front of me. I looked up to see a tall man with kind eyes. Thanks, but I'm not really in a celebrating mood. I'm Jack, and this is my daughter, Lily. A little girl, maybe 10 years old, stood beside him. I like your wheels. They're sparkly. I'd decorated my wheelchair with subtle silver accents for the wedding. Thanks, Lily. I'm Sophie. Want to see the fountain outside? Dad says it has fish in it. Jack smiled apologetically. She's been dying to check it out. For the first time that day, I felt myself genuinely smile. Lead the way, Lily. Outside, away from Victoria's influence, I felt myself relax as Lily chattered about school and her pet turtle. Jack explained he was a friend of the groom's from college. Why aren't you dancing inside? Lily asked innocently. Not exactly easy in this thing. Jack tilted his head. Who says? The DJ just put on a slow one. Before I could protest, he was behind my chair and Lily was skipping ahead to clear a path to the dance floor. Everyone's staring, I whispered as Jack gently guided my wheelchair in slow circles. Let them. You deserve to be here as much as anyone. I hadn't felt so normal in years. Jack's hands were warm on my shoulders as he swayed with the movement of my chair. Then Victoria's voice cut through the music. This is inappropriate. You're making a spectacle. We're just dancing, Jack replied calmly. She's clearly seeking attention. This is Rachel's day, not hers. My father appeared beside her. Perhaps it's best if I what, Dad? Disappear? Hide away because it makes you all uncomfortable to see me trying to have a normal life? Sophie, you're causing a scene, Victoria hissed. I looked to my father, waiting for him to defend me. Instead, he stared at his shoes. Maybe you should take a break, Sophie. The music hadn't stopped, but everyone had. All eyes on the pathetic CEO's daughter making a scene. I think I'll just go home. As I wheeled toward the exit, Jack caught up with me. Don't let them win. They already have. He slipped a business card into my hand. I restore classic cars. If you ever want to talk to someone who doesn't care about corporate politics. I clutched the card tightly as my driver helped me into the car, the sound of the wedding fading behind me. 3 days after the wedding disaster, I called Jack. We met at a coffee shop where Lily immediately ran to hug me. Can I push your chair? Dad taught me how to do it right. Sure, kid. Just don't crash me into any tables. Jack smiled as Lily carefully navigated me to our table. She hasn't stopped talking about you since the wedding. Our coffee dates became a weekly thing. Jack didn't treat me like I was broken, and Lily thought my wheelchair was the coolest thing ever. For the first time since my accident, I felt normal. One afternoon, I was working late at the office when I stumbled across an email chain I wasn't supposed to see. Victoria had redirected funds from the company's accessibility improvement project to her pet marketing initiative. You won't believe what I found, I told Jack over the phone. Victoria killed the ramp installation project by claiming it wasn't cost-effective. She redirected $2 million. That's straight-up discrimination. Can you tell your dad? He only sees what she wants him to see. I dug deeper and found more. Victoria had quietly pushed out 3 employees with disabilities in the past year, all under the guise of performance issues. When my physical therapist Nathan arrived the next day, I showed him what I'd discovered. This doesn't surprise me. Victoria tried to cancel your therapy sessions 6 months ago. What? Dad would never allow that. She claimed it was an unnecessary expense. Your father never knew. I appealed directly to HR. I slammed my hand on my wheelchair arm. She's been systematically erasing people with disabilities from the company, including me. Jack helped me compile everything into a solid case. The annual company gala is next month, right? That's your chance. Dad would never let me speak at the gala. Victoria plans that event down to the minute. Maybe it's time to stop asking permission. It took 3 attempts to get a meeting with my father. When I finally cornered him in his office, I didn't mince words. I want to speak at the gala about our company's commitment to inclusion. The agenda is already set, Sophie. Change it, unless you're afraid of what I might say. That got his attention. What does that mean? It means I know what Victoria has been doing, and you should too. I showed him enough evidence to raise his eyebrows, but not enough to reveal our full plan. Fine. 5 minutes, not a second more. As I left his office, Victoria was waiting in the hallway, arms crossed. Quite the performance in there. Too bad you'll have to cancel. Not happening. She stepped closer, lowering her voice. You really want to embarrass your father? I've worked too hard to let you ruin this company with your special needs agenda. Scared of what I might say, Victoria? You won't be speaking at that gala. I'll make sure of it. And if you try, I'll make what happened at the wedding look like a picnic. Your father trusts my judgment, not the emotional outbursts of his crippled daughter. I gripped my wheels tightly. We'll see about that. The night of the gala arrived. Jack and Lily waited backstage for moral support while I adjusted my evening dress over my wheelchair. You got this. Jack squeezed my shoulder. What if Victoria tries something? Lily asked, her face serious. That's exactly what we're counting on, kiddo. The ballroom was packed with executives, clients, and board members. Victoria stood near my father, whispering urgently. When she spotted me rolling toward the stage, her eyes widened. Ladies and gentlemen, the MC announced, please welcome Sophie Miller, who will speak about our company's future vision. As I took my place at the lowered microphone, Victoria made a slashing motion across her throat at the tech guy, but I'd already ensured he was on my side. Good evening. As many of you know, I'm Richard Miller's daughter. What you might not know is how our company treats people with disabilities. Victoria started moving toward the stage, but my father grabbed her arm. Since my accident, I've experienced firsthand the barriers that exist, not just physical ones, but the barriers of prejudice. Tonight, I'm going to share some uncomfortable truths. I clicked a remote, and projection screens displayed emails and memos, all from Victoria. These documents show systematic discrimination against employees with disabilities. 3 talented team members pushed out. A $2 million accessibility initiative canceled and funds diverted. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. Victoria broke free from my father and lunged for the tech booth. But don't take my word for it. Let's hear from Victoria herself. I clicked again and her voice filled the room. We can't have wheelchairs cluttering up the office. It's bad for our image. And Richard's daughter? Keep her away from clients. Nobody wants to deal with a cripple. The room went dead silent. Victoria froze mid-stride. That recording was from last month's department head meeting. Here's another from 3 days ago. Her voice again. The board doesn't need to know about those accessibility regulations. What are they going to do? Sue us? Richard will believe whatever I tell him. I looked directly at my father. Is that true, Dad? Will you believe whatever she tells you? The room turned to Richard, who slowly walked to the stage. For a terrible moment, I thought he might side with her. No, Sophie, not anymore. He took the microphone. Effective immediately, Victoria Chambers is terminated from Miller Tech, and we're instituting a full company-wide accessibility initiative headed by my daughter. Victoria lunged forward. You can't do this! I built this company with you. Security will escort you out, my father replied coldly. As she was led away, former colleagues stepped aside, no one meeting her eyes. Later, as the gala wound down, my father knelt beside my wheelchair. I'm sorry, Sophie. I didn't see what was happening. You see me now. That's what matters. 6 months later, Miller Tech became a national model for inclusive workplace practices. Jack and Lily moved into my accessible condo, and last week, he proposed. Not bad for the CEO's poor daughter, Jack said as we watched Lily play in our backyard. Not bad for a family just getting started, I replied, looking down at the Disability Advocacy Foundation letterhead on my desk, my new passion project that my father had fully funded. The woman who once felt invisible had found her voice, her purpose, and surprisingly, her happy ending. What would you have done in Sophie's position? Was publicly exposing Victoria at the company gala justified? Or did she cross a line by humiliating her in front of everyone? Would you have given your father a second chance after he repeatedly failed to stand up for you? If this story resonated with you, please hit that like button so more people can discover it. And if you want more revenge stories where toxic people get exactly what they deserve, subscribe to the channel. Share your thoughts in the comments below.